All right. Okay. Good to see you again. It's our fourth lesson. Yeah, I trust you got my little video on how to make one of these at home, just using your own towel. So get out your foam roller or your towel roller, whichever one you've got, and you're going to lay it down on the floor to be able to stand on it. So make sure you got something close by that you can just hold on for a bit of balance, and we're going to walk heel to toe, forwards and backwards, still facing one direction. So start at one end, get your heel on, and then walk across on top of your roller. Come to the end, just keep an eye on where you are, and then we're going to just reverse it, heel to toe. So I want you to feel that toe making contact with the back of the heel as you're going, and then you step off the other side. Leave your foot on it. Now switch your feet around so you know which one that you would have started on before. Now we're going to start on the other side. So heel to toe again, and let's start lengthening up. Okay, so that's our balancing work. Can we find a good balance as we walk over our roller? Are we managing to stay on it? If you feel you're going to fall, just put your foot down, make sure you're safe, and then coming off the back end. Okay, so we're now going to be using the roller in a moment. We're going to lie down on it with it, but first let's see if we can pick it up, and we're just going to bring it into our hands. Now it's quite fat, so get a reasonably good grip on it, and you're going to have your fingers palms facing backwards. Okay, we're going to take out our feet a little bit wider, but point your toes forward. Okay, so toes aren't turned out, toes are pointing forward. We're going to open the shoulders, and then we're just going to take that the roller up and back down again. Okay, so we're coming up and then coming back down. So you're losing my roller out of the view, but that's just the way it is. I haven't got a lot of space here. And then coming back. Okay, so put that to one side. Hopefully you felt what that was like. And now we're going to do a little bit of internal and external rotation. So this is all just part of warming us up. So feet underneath you now. We're going to start with the toes turning outward. So a little bit of Charlie Chaplin stance. Okay, so what has happened is we've rotated out with the leg. Now I want you to feel that you've done that, okay? So you have a little bit of a butt squeeze in the crease of the glutes at the back. You've turned the knees out, starting it from here and then relaxing. So can you turn out a little further and relaxing? So this is all about just alignment, about placing. Can you feel both glutes are working, turning out at the thigh, coming back in. Now we're going to make it a little harder. You're going to bring your feet back to parallel, which means your toes are pointing straight ahead and you're underneath your hips. You're not going to move your feet. You're going to turn from here again. So you're going to turn out, and you're going to feel like if you've got fallen arches, they're going to lift as you open. So you're going to get this external rotation in the hip joint and then coming back. So let's do that a few more times. You can use your hands as well. I'm just demonstrating, showing the hand to help you to figure out that's what's going on your hip. Turning out, turning in. So notice how that movement from the top of the hip ripples all the way down to your feet. So it's really helpful if you have bunions in your toes, big toe in particular, if your feet fall in on the arches. This is going to help you. It's going to help you to initiate that strength of stabilizing through your ankle and your foot through using your glute strength, the hip strength, which is what it's designed for. So keep going, turning it out, turning in. You haven't lifted your big toe off the floor, so just be careful of that you don't kind of roll all the way like I've just done. So you keep that big toe down and you just roll out. You'll feel like you're spreading your feet a little bit. Breathing in, breathing out, just nice easy breathing. Okay, so you've got the idea of rotation from the hip joint. Now we're going to take it, so we're still keeping our feet facing forward because we're teaching a strength in the foot here, that if you are somebody that actually has your toes turned out all the time, what happens is your knees are still trying to travel down that pathway in front of you, and your knees will fall in, and so will your arches, and so will your ankles. So we want to really pay attention, all of us, no matter which way you lay your feet. is to keep those toes tracking straight ahead. Okay, so that's a little bit more conscious awareness of the toe position or the foot position. Okay, so let's think about how this can help posturally. So it's well and good getting the upper body all sorted and the spine sorted in the head, but if we don't kind of engage our powerhouse strength down into our hips as well, we can kind of lose it from there down. So we're going to spread our feet, which is just like what you've done. You've just rolled your hips a little bit, or there's another wording they use for this. It's kind of like drilling your legs into the floor. So think of a screw that's got a thread on it and is drilling in and turning. So you can think of both of your legs like that. Of course, the turn is outward, both sides. It's not inward. Okay, so that's what we want to avoid. We want to strengthen up that lateral turnout, the outward rotation. Okay, so can you switch that on with 20% of your effort? Not really gripping and bracing. You want to be able to breathe. Can you feel that you can have that on and still be able to move the upper body a little bit? Or have you stiffened yourself so to the point that it's now impossible to move the upper body? You're battling to breathe. You feel your shoulders are probably getting involved as well. Okay, so soften all of that. We've got that little turn. Okay, now let's take it up the next level. Remember, your big toes are staying down if you tend to roll out on your feet. You're now going to bring it to your tummy. So we think good posture here about our spine alignment, that beautiful S shape that we have in our spine. We don't want to flatten it. We don't want to overextend it. We want to find that middle place where gravity works the best through our joints. So think of your tummy wrapping all the way around as it does, as in being shrink wrapped. So it's kind of drawing in instead of just moving in one direction. So this, if I show you from the side, so I'm going to place my legs again. I'm going to roll that out a little, get that lateral rotation. Now, we want to be upright, get your helium balloon on top of your spine. And here is what we're focusing on right now. So if I draw in from all sides, just with 20% effort, because I'm only standing, I'm not going for a run or picking up something heavy, I can still breathe. Can I feel that I haven't moved anything? So this is what I'm meaning. If you do it wrong, this is what's going to happen. You're going to be there because you've done too much on the six-pack muscle, or you're going to think, well, I'm going to go the other way because you're thinking of trying to correct this posture, right? So both of those two excessive movements are not the right one in the middle. So you want to find your weight in the middle of your feet. You're going to kind of drill those legs down into your feet, get the drilling through, get that activity through here. So now we're not floppy, there's a bit of tone, but it's not clenching. And we can bring our shrink wrap in on our tummy. So we got the support from the front to the back. Everything should be starting to feel a little easier there. And then we're just going to line up the rest of the body. So we're coming up to shoulders now and the head. Helium balloon, still there. So you set up this lower part. Now we've got to sort out what goes on here. If I demonstrate, you can see how you yourself might be able to still do this if this is your posture. I can kind of sort out from here, but I can very easily still slope forward on my shoulders and my head. Okay, so you can see how this is sorted, but this is still wrong at the upper body. Okay, so that's one of the other posture types that happen. So we've set up here, we're nice and supported, we can breathe, we haven't held our breath. We're only 20%, remember, you don't want to create this heightened tension that you start feeling sore. Just enough is all we need. Shoulders now need to be thought of. Where are they? So when we are sloped forward, our shoulders turn inward. So we want to rotate the shoulders outward. It's not your military style. We're just going to rotate outward, opening the collarbones, widening the front of us, and getting those shoulder blades to sit flat on the back of the rib cage. And as you do that, so just do this with me, test it. So we have slumped forward, and if you now take your thumbs and look down, they should be pointing at each other or at your legs, so this way. Now if you rotate from here, not just your hand, don't even worry about your hand, you'll see that'll go, from your shoulder, turn it outward And you will notice that you can even go further, that your thumb maybe even starts looking behind you. Yeah? But it's initiated from up here. That's important. So let's roll forward, let's slump. And now let's rotate outwards. So it's the same direction as what we've done in our hips. And then you will notice your head somehow just happily comes and sits on top of your spine. You're not arching forward, you're not arching your back, you've still got that support there. So we roll forward and then we unravel that and we find our lateral rotation in the shoulders. Okay, so and then the head comes up nicely and we can then figure out, is our chin poking up to the ceiling because we're shorter than the majority of the population, or are we really looking down because we're taller than the majority? Can we get our head in the right position that our chin drops in a little and we get long through the neck? Okay, so there's your good posture. Now if I got you to stay like this and we said, all right, well let's test this now. So you've got that rotation in your hips. Let's just refresh that. Your tummy shrink wrap is on. Your shoulders have rotated outwards, that when you hang your arms, your thumb should be facing forward, not facing inward. Now let's see how we go standing on one leg. Now you're going to drill it in more on that standing leg. Lift the heel and then lift your foot. Breathe. So we're not collapsing the foot. Keep driving it from the hip. Lovely. And then land your foot down. And we're going to do the same on the other side. So drive it through. Gently lift your foot. Feel you can breathe. Grow tall. Feel that foot is working for you now on the ground, driving it from the hip. This is where your balance is coming from, right here. Particularly if you are not so easy in your foot, if you've got an issue there and you've got some problems, okay? And then coming back down. All right, lovely. Well done. Nice work. So we've warmed up there a little bit, just got a little bit of the awareness of the rotational factors, and we're going to now take that down to our foam roller or our towel roller, whichever one you've got. So come and lay down on your mat and bring your roller with you. Okay, so we've got our roller, put it in the middle of your mat, make sure it's straight so that when you lay on it, it feels right. And with or without some weights today. So what the weights are going to do is just going to increase the stretch across the front of your chest when you are laying on the roller. You might prefer just to use your own arm body weight, which is perfectly fine. So the option is to use a weight or not to use a weight. Just being always mindful that you want to be in a completely pain-free movement position when you are using your weights. Okay, so if it's aggravating something because you suddenly realize, oh, something feels a bit stiff, then leave it out and just use your own arm weight, which is good enough. Okay, so remembering that we're using a towel now. So if your roller was too short, remember you're going to prop up your head with your towel at the end of your roller. I might just do that for myself anyway because it just feels a little bit more comfortable, because this is my length, but I might be a millimeter short on either side. So big towel first, and then your little towel as well if you need it. You can always remove the smaller one if it's too high. Okay, so let's come and lay down. So you're going to sit on the end of your towel. So let's just walk yourself to the front. Park your bottom on the end. And then you want to swivel yourself around with your feet and get your tail right on the very end. So you're perching right on the end. You're not off it. You've got your sacrum on. You can feel that pressure already. Feet nice and wide at this point. And I'll bring your hands either side of you and lay yourself down. Put on your shrink wrap tummy and let's lower ourselves to the roller and to the floor. Okay, so you're aiming for that middle line, you're aiming for that feeling that it is right in the center of you. Okay, position your cushions, make sure you've got support. Now you notice the cushion is not in your neck, same as if you're lying on the mat, it is underneath the head. Okay, so sort that out with your towels, make sure you are really comfortable with that. Have a little wiggle, it's always good to do that to settle ourselves down. And now you can feel that's a center rod or roller right down the middle of you. You want to feel your shoulder blades either side equalish, hips as well. And at this point, to start off with, you're welcome to just have your feet a little bit wider, but toes looking straight ahead, okay? So we don't want to cave in on our ankles. That's the point of that. All right, so when we lie down, we just need to give our bodies a little bit of a space to get used to this. It's foreign. If you've been slouched at your desk or at a computer or whatever you've been doing through these days and weeks, you're going to find this is going to be a foreign position for your body, because basically you've taken yourself out of this, real deep curve, and we're flattening you out. And the same as the other. If your posture is with a deep arch in your lower back, you're going to find this awkward too, because you've got to settle down into that. So it's really appropriate for all postures, all positions of the bodies, and no matter what age you're at. I like the half roller because you can just relax a bit more into it, where the full roller is going to be fair enough. It gives you a lot more challenge and different exercises, but emphasis today is about realigning one's posture and just get us out of that fixed position we've been in for too long. Alright, so toes looking straight down the mat, knees appropriately open to that because your feet are slightly wider. Let's put your hands on your rib cage and have a feel where your shoulder blades are, and be nice and long in your body. So we'll settle the body with our breath. Take a deep breath into the front of your ribs and let the breath come out to the sides and into the floor, and breathing out. So let that feel good. Deep breath in through your nose, and then out through your mouth. Just feel that expansion. Relaxing the body parts that are in contact with the floor, and breathing out. Okay, so continue with that idea of the breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. We're now going to think about our shoulders. So we did it standing. We did this lateral rotation standing. So when you're sitting in a slump forward position, as I explained, your shoulders roll inwards. So if we do that, lying on our back now, we'll turn our palms down and maybe even around. So just do that and notice how this shoulder is going to roll forward and lift away from the floor. Okay, now we're going to do the opposite. We're going to rotate from up top here, and we're going to turn the arms around so that the palms look up to the ceiling and your little finger lifts. So you see how you can go a little bit more into that. Now, don't make the emphasis just about your hands. Let's make it about your shoulders, because that's where we're moving from. The elbow and wrist just go with as partners. Okay, so you want to get this set up right for posture. So we're going to roll all the way forward. You notice how your shoulders roll forward and it tightens up in the front of your chest. And then you roll all the way the other way and open. Feel that that's opening, and you get the stretch maybe already through there. Breathing in and breathing out. I don't mind whichever breathing pattern you like to use, as long as you're breathing. Don't hold your breath. And rolling all the way out. Okay, so we're going to stay on the outward rotation, because I want us to really allow gravity in this passive position to open up the front of the chest. So what we also want to think about is the height of your shoulder, or the position of your shoulder in relationship to your ear. We don't want to be up here. You know that's not the right place for your shoulder. So you want to bring it down nice and wide, and have a feeling that your armpit is going down towards your hips or your feet. Okay, so instead of your armpit lifting up to your shoulder, up to your ears, can we gently just soften them down towards our feet? And you notice I've said soften because I don't want you fixing and bracing it. Just feel that you can create space between your ear and top of shoulder. Alright, so your hands are turned up to the ceiling. You can have your hands closer to your mat and to the sides of you, or you can be a little bit wider, but don't go past the level of your collarbone. So I don't want you up here by your head. Okay, so I go for kind of a low V. That's the most comfortable for me. And that kind of helps me to keep this out of my ear. Alright, so you set yourself up in that position. And now you're just going to let gravity do the job for you. So we come back to our breathing this time. You're going to breathe a little higher. So you're going to breathe into the breastbone, in here, and breathing out. So we're just changing the emphasis. Your breath is traveling up to the top of your ribs for the purpose that these muscles that we're stretching come from the sternum, breastbone, all along these top ribs down in the arms. So if we can lift the breastbone or lift the chest, but leaving the arms behind, we'll get a little bit more stretch. So just using that, breathing, and let your arms be heavy, floppy, really heavy. And breathing out. Now don't go so far that you're trying to arch your back off the roller. So you just watch it, you don't try and stick it up. You just want to fill with air there. And breathing out. You still feel the rise and fall of your upper tummy. It's just now such a deep, big in-breath. And it's really good. Can we move? Can we actually get these ribs moving? Don't forget about breathing into the roller. And breathing out. Okay, nice work. Okay, bend your elbows. And we're going to turn the palm to face towards the feet. Now, we can do this in various positions as far as your elbow is related to your shoulder. So you can take your elbow out wider. This will be what we call the goalpost position. Or you can take it in a lower V, which is like the Concorde wing position, if you remember that plane. So you can do it either way. So I'm going to go a little bit wider because that just feels better for me. And you're going to let the back of your hands come down towards the floor. Now don't lift your elbow. Keep it down. Keep it really kind of sinking or melting on the floor. And then you come back over with your hands, pointing to the ceiling with your fingers, and now you're going to go the other way. So the palm of your hand now comes down. So what you want to do is you want to minimize how much this top shoulder here is lifting. And it's going to want to lift on both of the movements. So when you come down this way, it might want to do that. So I'm exaggerating that for you. So it's going to want to do that. And when you go back, sometimes we have a restriction and it wants to lift as well because it's not working. So both positions, we want to be flat. You're welcome to take your other hand. So I have a tricky shoulder here. This is my old injury one where I dislocated it. So sometimes I have to put my other hand on it just to remind that roll from happening, just to kind of put a little bit of pressure down and rolling. And that's really helpful. It really can help your shoulder if you've had anything going on, and I know a few of you have got your shoulder issues. So go ahead and just support the tricky one with your other hand. Don't worry about the clicks and the clonks. As long as they're not painful, you're doing it fine. Don't try and force the range either. Okay, and then we'll finish one more time, taking it back and then coming over and down. You notice my ribs haven't lifted when doing that. Okay, take your hands up to the ceiling. Let's have your thumbs turning all the way outward. Okay, we're going to take the arms down either side of us. Now, when we do this exercise, often it's about lifting, but I want you to change the emphasis. Even though we're lifting, I want you to think of going back with your shoulders. So it's like you're pushing down against the surface. So imagine you've got foams, nice soft foam underneath the arms and the shoulders, and you're just imprinting the shoulder shape into the foam. So it's kind of like that memory foam. I think we all can visualize that. So you're pushing back and lifting and pushing down and lifting. Yeah? So open up the collarbones, open up the chest, and you will feel your sides of your shoulder blades making some contact on that towel roller or foam roller that you have. So we're pushing down. Now you're using your biceps, which is the front of the top of the arm, really to work to hold the weight of these arms. Isn't that amazing? Like I said, your own arm weight is enough. You don't need to add another weight in your hands. 3, 2, keep those shoulders away from your ears, and 1, and collapse. Well done. Bend your elbows, pop your hands on your shoulders. Let's do our chicken wing rolls. So now that you lift it off the floor, it's great because you've got a little bit more range of movement to really roll backwards. Now you notice it's going backwards because we want to laterally rotate. We want to rotate away from this forward thing outwards. So we roll backwards. All about stretching the front of the chest, get our posture right, help our head alignment, help our neck, all of that. All right, now 3 more. 2 and 1. Well done. Okay, arms back down to your sides. Bring your feet back into parallel. Now the next position is only if it's comfortable for you to do. So slowly take one leg out to the end of your mat. Squeeze both glutes. Just clench your bum cheeks and relax them. If that's not comfortable with one leg out, then you just keep your knees bent. Squeeze and relax. What we're doing here is we're resetting the pelvis position. One more time. Okay, switch on that corset, that tummy brace. Bring that leg back in. Let's take the other leg down. So we're also doing a little bit of a stretch in the front of the hips. Squeeze, release, squeezing. Good, nice heavy ribs, good breathing, everything relaxed. Can you squeeze both glutes? Not forgetting, it's not just the one where the leg is straight. Okay, and now if that is all feeling comfortable, see if you can take your other leg down there as well. So that's a different position. So make sure you've got your tummy working for you. So make sure you've got that shrink wrap on and you've got your breath. Okay, now if you relax, notice what happens with your legs if you relax them. Do they roll out? Yeah. So that's what your body does naturally. So when you relax the tension in the hip, what they do is they roll out. Okay, so you want to keep that now. Just release that. Feel that you can just be nice and heavy. And let's think about the arms again. We're going to turn the palms up to the ceiling and we're going to beat the arms. We're going to go a little quicker now with a little bit more breathing. So can we be in this position with our shrink wrap tummy on and still be able to breathe without lifting those shoulders up to the ears? 5, 4, 3, ribs flat, 2, 1, and then bringing down. What I meant by ribs flat is that you weren't arching here. Alright, so tummy on, bring the legs back, bring your feet back up, and then bring your feet now back to parallel and hip width distance. So remember that, toes together, heels together, keep the knees together. Make sure you're in the middle of your roller now because you might have your feet off to one side. So have a little peek and make sure, and then we'll open the toes, open the heels, and then the knees. Toes should be looking straight down your mat. That will be your parallel line. Alright, lovely. Okay, so we're going to bring the leg up into a knee fold. So this is going to throw your balance and we're just going to switch on a little deeper around the tummy to manage that. So hands on your hips just so you can kind of feel where you are. Don't let your rib cage lift as in arching your back. Nice and long and settled in your neck, nice and heavy in your head. Deep breath in. As you breathe out, embrace your tummy, bring your leg up into a knee fold. Breathe in to take the foot back down. Breathing out, draw in that tummy, lift your other leg. Breathe in, take it back down. So the breathing pattern is breathing out, embracing the tummy, then bringing the leg up. Make sure you've got this switched on before you carry the weight to the leg. And then the in-breath takes it down. So just kind of give yourself that split second pause before just hoiking the leg up. I want you stable here. I don't want anything to move around the hips other than the thigh bone dropping nicely into the hip socket. Good. And coming down. Nice knee bend, manage that. Okay, so we breathe out, then we lift. We breathe in, we take it down. Breathing in through your nose, breathing out through your mouth. Last one on the other leg. Well done. And you would have noticed one side was a little stronger than the other, as I noticed in my own body. Okay, we're going to bring the feet together and have the soles of the feet together, and we're just going to now that's in line with your roller, and just let your knees open out to the sides. Now this is a position that will automatically make your back arch anyway, so whether you're lying on a roller or on the floor. So make sure you have switched that tummy on nice and supportive so that you have no space in your small of your back off the roller. Kind of feel that you're pressing down with that. But you still want to be able to breathe. And as we're hanging out here, gravity is now pushing down on the thighs and opening the inner thighs a little bit and giving you a bit of a stretch. So you just want to feel that that is a position of ease for you, that you're not tensing up, and you may notice you might be tight in one hip, so then you just bring it up a little and then you go back down into it. Okay, and we'll come up and then we'll go back down into it. Make sure your tummy is switched on. Breathe into the back of your ribs. Don't let those back muscles tighten. Now I'd like you to squeeze your glutes. What happens when you do that? Maybe it opens your knees a little bit more. Hold the squeeze, breathing, and then relax. And does that let your legs go a little further? Alright, one more time like that. Make sure it isn't aggravating anything else in your body. Just a gentle squeeze of the glutes. They don't switch on as easy here, but see what you can feel, something changing there. And then let go. And see, do your knees soften out a little bit more? Even if that's those tiny little increment movements, that's all helping. Okay, bring the legs back in and back up. Lovely job. Alright, so shall we come off the roller? So you're going to take one leg down and you're just going to slide off. And then you pull it out and we're going to bring it where your feet are. Okay, so pop it down there. You want to be able to stand on it with your feet. And then you're going to come down with the height of your head. So come down lower than you normally would, because now we're going to do our bridges. But we're going to do the bridges with our feet on our roller. So make sure your feet are underneath your knees enough. Have your heels down a little bit and your toes slightly higher. What direction are your toes going in? Straight down, straight, nice and pointed. Careful, don't turn them out. Keep them straight ahead. Alright, so you're not pushing your heel on the mat. Make sure it is slightly elevated. I want you to feel the arch of your foot. That's what you're going to push down. Now, if you're using a towel, it's not going to roll away from you. If you are using a foam roller in itself, just watch that it doesn't slide. You want to push down to the floor. You don't want to be pushing that way. So don't cheat with you using the towel that you're kind of just pushing that way. Alright, so it's back to our hips again. Put your shrink wrap around your tummy. Drop your ribs down. Put your hands on your ribs actually. And we're going to push down on the feet. We're going to squeeze the glutes. We've got our tummy nice and engaged. That's an out breath. And we lift. We're breathing, coming down. You breathe out. Then you engage and lift. Make sure that breath is just ahead of your movement. Breathing in lower. And the emphasis on that is really on the out breath, because that's your strength to lift from. And breathing in, coming down. Alright, let's keep going. Squeeze and lift. Breath in and down. Feel that you got even pressure in your feet. Your toes are still looking straight ahead. Are you gripping your toes? Can you relax them? And coming down. So think of pushing on the arches of your feet. Now if your arches are weak and flat, it's going to be some work you're going to feel. And that's what we want to do. Remember, it's all about the glute loading. It's not so much the hamstrings nor the back. So keep these ribs down, just enough to pass your hands, yeah, underneath and down. Alright, come and hold your height. Take your arms up. Turn your thumbs out. So now we're going to come down with the arms and we're going to do that arm pump again. So give yourself some space in the armpits. The arm pump. Now, have you lost that connection through your glutes? Because now you've got your arms to think about. Let's keep that glute activity working really well for you. And we're breathing. So how much effort do you have to have going on down there? Let's think of it as like 20 to 30%, just enough to keep you there. You don't have to overdo it. So I want you to make it feel and look easy. Not to say that it's not work, but just that you're not overworking and you aren't kind of struggling to breathe. Have you done 100 yet? I know some of you are counting. 4, 3, 2, 1. Well done. And let's lay it all the way back down, and then just stretch your legs over the roller. Yeah, just drop them back down to the bottom there and take your arms overhead, and let's have a nice stretch. So at this point, I'd like you to pull your shoulders up to your ears and get a nice full stretch. Get some space into your tummy and feel that stretch. Good. Nice deep breaths. One more time. And then bringing it back. Okay, nice work. Okay, so if you can just kick your towel up to you, you're going to bring it across to the side of you. Don't send it too far. We're still going to be using it in a minute. Widen your feet. Pop your hands under your head with or without your towel, depending on what you need. And we're going to do some windscreen wipers. So let's roll. Roll the knees from side to side. Just push your towel out of the way that you don't catch your knees or your arm on it. And feel that movement side to side. If you feel like you want to go a little bit more, you add the turn of your head, remember? So you take your head away from the direction of the knees. And if you want, you can even turn your toes in a little bit. In other words, they're not turned out. You can have them looking down the mat. Just keep thinking about that arches and the fallen ankle thing. Good, and rolling. Nice. Okay, one more the other side. And then bringing it back. Okay, I'm going to get you to roll all the way onto your side, come up to sitting, and then we're going to lay back down on our roller. So, putting your big towel at least, and the little one as well, that's going to be for your head. Now the roller, we're going to lay it across the mat. It's going to go between our shoulder blades, or across the shoulder blades. So kind of just eyeball it. We can always sort it out once we get down there. So you're aiming for putting your elbows on your towel if you have that flexibility. Make sure you are straight down the line in your mat, and then settling shoulder blades on the roller. You're going to take your hands under your head straight away and support your head, and then just readjust the rest of you. Okay, so I kind of see my roller quite easily if I look down past my armpit. That's where you're looking at. So we'll test it. If you put your head back down on your towels, you should feel that you want to get into the position where it's the most comfortable. So it might be slightly higher than your bra strap. It might be a little bit further up. You don't want to be low. You don't want to be below your bra strap, because that will be way too uncomfortable and not the area we're trying to work on. And you also don't want to be up under your shoulder, because that'll be too high. Okay. So you can have your feet up nice and close, toes pointing straight down the mat, and your hands underneath your head supporting you. So we're going to do a small little lift of the head just to take us from this curve this way into a straight line. So it's going to be tiny. It starts with a nod of the chin, and then you just lift up just enough that you can look down towards your hips. Okay, you see I haven't done that. That would be way too far. Just a little lift and then coming back down again. So the emphasis now is going to be is how far can we go back, and then we come back to that straight line again. So you need to remove some of your towels. So I'm going to take the little one away, and that has dropped me even further. So there's the start position. Now, because as soon as you're over the roller, your head gets heavier. So you want to switch on more here with your stomach wrap or that shrink wrap. Make sure your hips are heavy. And we're going to come up with an out breath. So breathe in. Tuck your chin in as you do your breath in. As you breathe out, draw in that tummy and gently bring yourself up to that position. And then breathing in to go back, and you're ready to come straight back up on your out breath. Now you need your shoulders to help you with this. Think of your armpits going down to your feet. That gives you that space. I'm talking about that placement again. And with your hands behind your head, you are in a little bit of that lateral turn out. Coming down. Okay, if you really feel you're up for it, you can get rid of all your towels. Keep holding your head. It's going to get heavy now. So the head is 10 pounds, so it's going to feel even heavier when you go back now. See if you can go a little further. And all the way back. So it's an in-breath to go back. You start breathing out, you're coming forward. There should be no movement going on in your hips. It should feel like a workout on the arms. Last one. Coming up, hold that position. Get your towels underneath your head, however many you like. And then rest your hands back onto the towel. So you can be slightly extended over the roller, or you can be up at the higher height. Okay, we're just going to take a moment here, just pause, so make sure you've got enough support and you don't feel like you're jutting your chin back and it's really compressing back here. So use your hands to support you all the time. A little bit of a nodded chin position is really helpful. Okay, let those elbows flop out and let's find a little bit extra stretch in the front of us. Breathe in deep, breathing out. See what you can do with this one. Alright, now we're going to come up. Now, if your head is over the roller, you need to get up first. So tuck your chin in, bring your elbows in, come all the way up with your head. You can come in deep into that now as you then roll onto your side. Stay on your side. We're going to swap the roller for your towels. So you're going to bring that now to roll your head on. If that's not high enough, put another towel on top. So always making sure you're in good alignment. And now we're going to come with our arms in front. Okay, so we're looking to stack up our knees, our feet. We're going to bring that arm underneath the shoulder. We're going to bring your roller underneath the side of your head. Let your ear have some space to listen. And hands are nice and low. Okay, so we want to create that space underneath our waistline. And we're going to lift up with our in-breath. We're going to go back as far as we can. And we're going to let that top knee slide back. We're going to come back up with the in-breath. And coming back down. Breathing in to lift. Breathing out to turn. Breathe in, lift. Breathe out, turn. Keep thinking of the rotation you want to do in your shoulders. So if you feel you want to encourage that lateral rotation, turn your thumb away, that it's like your thumb is going down to the floor and then up. That will create a little bit more open shoulder. So we can really do quite a lot in this exercise to encourage the shoulder as well as getting the spine moving. You might find that really good. Coming back. So everything to change that posture of ours when we are sitting at our desk and we've lost our good sense of posture and we're falling forward and then we get trouble. Okay, last one. Lifting up and turning. And then coming back up and then hand back down. Well done. So I'm going to swivel around showing you the other side. So if you want to do the same as me, let's get your towel across. So we're going to be lying on our other side to do the same exercise. Okay, stacking everything again, knees, hips, hands and feet. Bring that roller underneath the side of your head, your ears not getting squashed. Hands nice and low again, long in the spine. Okay, so let's lift up, breathe in, breathe out. Just feel what this is like going on this side. Keep your hand quite low. Breathe in, breathe out. So you can add straight away, you can do that thumb movement. So the palm looks past your head per se. You're reaching with that thumb. Yeah, turning out that shoulder. Really satisfactory to get that openness. Breathe in, breathe out. Feel that movement. Allow it to happen. Allow your ribs to move. Breathing in, breathing out. You're still keeping a sense of that shrink wrap around your tummy, because remember, we can stabilize the spine and still move the upper body. So we haven't lost the tone, we haven't lost the core connection. I mean, the only time we don't use our core is when we're asleep. So we've got to keep it switched on through the day. Depending on the level of activity, might need more than 20% as we're doing now. Breathing in, breathing out, and turning, and then coming back up again. Nice work. Okay, so we're going to come on to our hands and knees, and we're going to do a little bit of 4-point kneeling, and you're going to use your roller. So gently push yourself up through your side. You're going to have your roller for your hands. Okay. Alright, so make sure you've got enough space for your legs to reach out behind you and your arms to reach in front. Now, just to recap and just to remind us, when we do our body weight on our hands, it's very easy to kind of overload the wrists and we put too much body weight there. Where I want you to have more body weight in your hips. So you're looking for about 80% of body weight through the hip joints and through the knees, and no more than 20 on your hands, as light as possible. But what we're going to do is we're going to think about that lateral rotation again. So what often happens is when we put load, we fall into that internal, and then things go wrong in the wrist and the elbows and the shoulders. Everything feels really wrong. So we'll use the roller to prop us up a little bit, and then I want you to imagine that even though your fingers are pointing forward, you're turning outward. Same as when you were standing, you were kind of drilling your legs into the floor. We want to drill the arms into the roller. Okay, so I want you to think about that internal reversal of the internal rotation. We're going to be rotating outward. So the elbows are not winging, they're going to come at us, they're going to be in line with the shoulders. Okay, so let's give that a go. It'll make sense once we get going on this. Okay, so you have your hands on your roller, and your hands are not going to move, your fingers are going to be pointing straight ahead. Get your body weight established first, that you get that 80% back in your hips, and make sure you feel comfortable and this is not overloading your wrists. Shrink wrap your tummy, get that all involved, get a little bit of tone in your glutes. You won't be able to do a ton here because they are kind of looking to do a different position because they're flexed, but have a little bit of tone going on there. Thinking of driving your knees into the floor like you would standing. So can you turn outward? So that's what I mean by that little bit of tone. And now we're going to do this with the arms. So it comes from here. Same as the legs comes from the hip, the arms, it comes from the shoulder. Now if we did it on an internal rotation, this is what would happen. Your shoulders would come up to your ears, and there's our not so great posture. And we've kind of collapsed and we've lost, the poor neck doesn't know what to do, the head just hangs, or we poke it and it all gets out of alignment. So we're looking for optimum posture here. So we're going to rotate outwards. So have a look at your elbows and see what happens when you do the internal rotation. These little creases here where your elbow bends, put little smiley faces on those. So when you fall into internal rotation, do you notice your smiley faces look kind of down to the opposite knee? That's where they go inward. But if we're going to sit up and rotate outward, can we get the smiley faces turning and looking forward diagonally? Yeah, does that make sense? Let's give that a go. So rolling forward or rolling in, there's our bad posture. And rotating out from your shoulder joint, there you are drilling the shoulders into the floor. Yeah, that's essential. Then you're going to be able to do your lift of your hands, and you've got your shoulders set up to hold the weight of your head, and you won't have to think so much about where your head is. All right, so we've got that lateral rotation. It's not a bracing thing. It's just being able to do 20% of it. Can you breathe? Do you need to soften it a little bit? As long as you haven't gone there, that's fine. So just be mindful of not overcooking it. Okay, so from here, you've got your shoulders rotated outwards. You've got a little bit of that rotation outward with your hips. It's like you're trying to spread your knees. Now let's go up into our cat. And then go out into our horse. Can you keep that now on the arms and the legs? Can you move your spine in good 4-point position where you've got your hips and your shoulders nicely supporting the rest of you on the floor? Okay, I know a lot of you are probably thinking, sure, that's a lot of hard work. It is a lot of hard work when we're not used to using those muscles. So, okay, so well done. I think you cooked. That was quite a lot, and I'm sure you're going to feel muscles that you haven't used for a while. So let's just kind of stretch it out. Let's roll those shoulders back. You can do chicken wing rolls. Just get that breath back in there again, and feel that you can just ease off that tension that you've been working on. So well done. You're going to probably feel between your shoulder blade is, a little bit of work through there, but that's good. Those are muscles we don't use because we're sitting here and they get really weak and long at the back. So you really access them. Please practice that whole internal and external rotation. Make sure when you're sitting at your desk or sitting anywhere that you haven't slumped forward. Get that turning out, get your elbows down at your sides, and you can still, if I had my phone here, I could still work with my phone, but I lift it up to the height of my head. I don't let it fall forward. All right, well done, ladies. Great job. You keep well, and I'll see you next time. Bye.